I think personally, I think they've separated their professional lives, but I think what's really a great problem for them now, as of in the last few weeks, is that Meghan has got no real income anymore. She's finished.
The real reason Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's marriage is an empty sham. Constant drama and criticism are the only things holding them together.
Meghan Markle really did expect Harry to be a billionaire when she met him. She was incredibly disappointed to find out he's only worth a couple million, and she's gonna have to actually work and hawk these jams and jellies and dog biscuits to have the lifestyle that she wants.
A man who she abandoned for months to the media and now presents her mother, Doria, speaking for the first time, telling outright lies about her ex-husband. I mean, this was a calculated attempt against the family.
Have Prince Harry and Meghan Markle reached a point in their journey where their biggest challenge is no longer the royal family, but the business empire they've built together? For years, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex have remained among the most closely watched public figures in the world. Every interview, every public appearance, every business announcement, and every new project has sparked fresh debate. Supporters believe they're building an independent life on their own terms, while critics argue their post-royal journey has been far more complicated than expected. But recently, the conversation has taken a different direction. Instead of focusing on family disagreements or media controversies, attention has shifted towards something much bigger: their finances, their business partnerships, and the future of everything they've created since leaving royal duties. According to recent reports from several royal commentators, questions are now being asked about how Harry and Meghan organized their business interests after moving to California. While none of these claims have been officially confirmed, they have generated intense discussion because they suggest there may be legal and financial arrangements behind the scenes that the public has never seen. It's important to make one thing clear from the very beginning. This video is not claiming these reports are facts. Many of the allegations being discussed come from commentators, journalists, and royal biographers. No official documents have been released publicly, and neither Harry nor Meghan has confirmed these claims. That means much of today's discussion remains based on reported information rather than verified evidence. So why has this story suddenly become such a major talking point? The answer begins with one name: Tom Bower. Whether people agree with his conclusions or not, Bower has spent years investigating public figures through interviews, public records, and extensive research. His books often generate worldwide attention because they raise questions that many others avoid asking. According to his latest reporting, one overlooked aspect of Harry and Meghan's business relationship may explain several decisions that have puzzled royal observers over the past few years. His theory isn't centered on royal titles or public appearances. Instead, it focuses on business ownership, intellectual property, commercial partnerships, and the financial agreements that often exist when high-profile individuals build companies together. For most couples, these issues remain private. But when you're dealing with global celebrities whose names are attached to documentaries, books, trademarks, charitable organizations, and media productions, the financial picture becomes much more complex. That complexity is exactly why so many commentators have started paying closer attention. Since stepping away from royal duties, Harry and Meghan haven't simply changed where they live. They've entered the entertainment industry. They've signed commercial partnerships. They've launched charitable initiatives. They've created production companies. And they've developed personal brands that now operate on an international scale. Building that kind of business empire naturally involves contract, trademarks, legal protections, and ownership structures. Legal experts often point out that these arrangements are common for wealthy public figures and don't automatically indicate personal problems. However, according to Bower's reporting, there may be more to the story. He suggests that certain financial agreements could involve ownership of future business ventures, intellectual property, and commercial rights developed during the marriage. Once again, These claims have not been independently verified, but they've become one of the biggest topics in royal commentary because of what they could potentially mean if they're accurate. Almost immediately, the internet began dividing into two completely different camps. One side argued that separate business planning is completely normal. Successful entrepreneurs frequently create individual companies, separate trademarks, and independent brands even while remaining happily married. The other side believed these reported arrangements might suggest Harry and Meghan are preparing for a future that looks very different from the one the public has imagined. At this stage, neither interpretation has been confirmed. And that's exactly what makes this story so fascinating. Every new trademark filing, every new business announcement, every individual project is now being examined through an entirely different lens. Instead of asking what Harry and Meghan are creating, people have started asking why they're creating it that way. Is it simply smart business? Or could there be another reason hidden behind the headlines? Those are the questions that continue fueling one of the biggest royal debates of recent months. And as we'll see next, the answers may be far more complicated than many people expect. The other side believed these reported arrangements might suggest Harry and Meghan are preparing for a future that looks very different from the one the public has imagined. At this stage, neither interpretation has been confirmed. And that's exactly what makes this story so fascinating. Every new trademark filing, every new business announcement, every individual project is now being examined through an entirely different lens. Instead of asking what Harry and Meghan are creating, people have started asking why they're creating it that way. Is it simply smart business? Or could there be another reason hidden behind the headlines? Those are the questions that continue fueling one of the biggest royal debates of recent months. And as we'll see next, the answers may be far more complicated than many people expect. As more people began examining the couple's recent business decisions, attention quickly shifted to one important question. If Harry and Meghan are still working toward the same long-term vision, why do so many of their recent projects appear to be moving in different directions? It's a question that has divided royal commentators for months. Some believe the answer is simple. When two successful public figures build careers together, it's perfectly normal for each person to develop independent projects. Separate brands, individual trademarks, and different business ventures are common in the entertainment industry and don't necessarily reflect anything unusual about a relationship. Others, however, see something more significant. According to Tom Bower's reporting, the couple's financial planning may be more sophisticated than the public realizes. He suggests that agreements involving intellectual property, commercial rights, and future earnings could play an important role in how their business empire operates. However, these reported arrangements have never been made public and remain unverified. One reason this theory has gained attention is because Harry and Meghan no longer live the life they once did as working members of the royal family. Today, much of their future depends on commercial success, documentaries, publishing projects, media partnerships, public speaking, brand development, and entertainment ventures have all become major parts of their professional lives. Unlike royal duties, these activities involve contracts, licensing agreements, trademarks, production companies, and ownership rights. Managing those assets often requires detailed legal planning, especially for internationally recognized public figures. That brings us to another important point that many headlines rarely explain. When media outlets report that celebrities have signed multi-million-dollar deals, those numbers don't always represent guaranteed income. Entertainment contracts are often structured around performance milestones. Productions must be completed. Content must be delivered. Renewals may depend on audience response. In other words, the headline figure and the actual amount ultimately earned can be two very different things. The uploaded transcript highlights this distinction, noting that industry observers often describe these agreements as performance-based rather than one-time lump sum payments. This is one reason financial analysts encourage people not to judge a celebrity's financial position solely by the numbers appearing in newspaper headlines. Behind every major deal is usually a complex contract that only the parties involved fully understand. Around the same time, Meghan continued expanding projects connected to her own personal brand. Trademark applications, lifestyle initiatives, and business ventures developed under her own name gradually became part of the public record. Many entrepreneurs structure their businesses this way because it offers flexibility, stronger branding, and clearer ownership. Yet some commentators interpreted these developments differently. They argued that Meghan's increasing focus on individual ventures might indicate a broader long-term strategy. Again, that's an interpretation, not a confirmed fact. Even the source material emphasizes that these moves can have many ordinary business explanations and do not, by themselves, prove anything about the couple's private relationship. Meanwhile, Harry appeared to remain focused on a different set of priorities: his charitable work, legal battles, public advocacy, and causes he has supported for many years continued to dominate his public schedule. From one perspective, this simply reflects two spouses pursuing different careers while supporting each other's goals. From another perspective, some observers believe it suggests their professional lives are gradually becoming more independent. Neither conclusion has been confirmed. And that's exactly why debate continues. Because every public appearance, every trademark filing, every interview, and every business announcement is now viewed through completely different lenses, depending on who's doing the analysis. Some people see careful business planning. Others believe they're witnessing early signs of a much larger shift. At this stage, both interpretations remain opinions rather than established facts. As the discussion grew, attention expanded beyond contracts and trademarks to an even bigger question. Could the way Harry and Meghan have structured their business empire eventually become just as important as the public story they've shared with the world? That's the question we'll explore next. As debate surrounding the Sussexes continued to grow, attention gradually moved beyond individual business ventures and focused on the bigger financial picture. Royal commentators began asking whether Harry and Meghan were simply adapting to life outside the monarchy, or quietly restructuring the future of their professional careers. Since stepping away from royal duties, they've built an entirely new identity through documentaries, publishing projects, charitable organizations, media partnerships, and commercial ventures. That transformation alone has made their financial arrangements far more complex than those of most celebrity couples. Another topic that generated considerable discussion involved the value of their entertainment deals. Headlines often reported enormous figures attached to various partnerships. But industry experts frequently explain that these contracts rarely involve one guaranteed payment. Instead, compensation is commonly linked to completed productions, audience performance, renewal options, and future deliverables. In other words, the figures appearing in media reports may represent potential maximum values rather than money paid immediately. The source transcript presents this as a common feature of entertainment agreements rather than evidence of financial difficulty. At roughly the same time, Meghan continued expanding projects connected to her own personal brand. Trademark filings, lifestyle ventures, and business initiatives under her individual name attracted growing public attention. Some observers viewed these decisions as perfectly ordinary business planning, while others believed they reflected a deliberate strategy to strengthen her independent commercial identity. However, no official evidence has linked these business activities to any changes in the couple's private relationship, and the transcript itself acknowledges that many entrepreneurs organize their companies in exactly the same way. Harry, meanwhile, appeared to concentrate on a different set of priorities. His charitable work, legal challenges, and public advocacy remained central to his schedule, creating the impression that both he and Meghan were increasingly pursuing separate professional goals. Some commentators describe this as a completely natural evolution for two ambitious public figures, while others interpreted it as another piece of a much larger puzzle. Without official confirmation from the couple themselves, both interpretations remain speculative rather than factual. That is ultimately why this story continues attracting worldwide attention. Every trademark application, every public appearance, every business announcement, and every interview is examined for hidden meaning. Supporters believe these developments represent smart, long-term business planning, while critics argue they may point toward significant changes behind the scenes. At present, the publicly available evidence is not enough to confirm either view, leaving royal observers to draw very different conclusions from the same series of events. And with every new development, the debate only grows stronger. As the story draws to a close, one thing becomes increasingly clear. Much of the public conversation surrounding Prince Harry and Meghan Markle is driven by interpretation rather than confirmed evidence. Their journey since leaving royal duties has been unlike anything previously seen within the modern royal family. They've built businesses, signed commercial partnerships, launched charitable initiatives, and developed independent brands, all while remaining under constant public scrutiny. Because of that, almost every decision they make is analyzed from countless different perspectives. According to Tom Bower's reporting, the legal and financial arrangements behind the couple's business empire may be far more detailed than most people realize. He believes ownership of intellectual property, commercial rights, and future business interests could eventually become significant if circumstances were ever to change. However, no alleged agreements have been released publicly, and none of these claims have been independently verified. The original transcript repeatedly stresses that these reported legal provisions remain unconfirmed. This is exactly why opinions remain divided. Some commentators believe the separate projects, trademark filings, and business structures represent careful long-term planning by two experienced public figures. Others argue these developments may point toward a larger strategy, taking shape behind closed doors. At present, neither interpretation has been supported by official evidence, making it impossible to draw definite conclusions. The source also notes that routine business planning can often be mistaken for something more significant. What is certain is that Harry and Meghan continue to attract extraordinary global attention. Every public appearance, every interview, every new business venture, and every announcement immediately becomes headline news around the world. As long as that remains the case, speculation will likely continue alongside confirmed reporting, making it increasingly difficult for the public to separate established facts from personal opinion. Ultimately, only time will reveal whether the theories surrounding their financial planning hold any truth, or whether these developments simply reflect the normal evolution of two high-profile individuals building separate professional careers. Until then, the discussion remains open, with supporters and critics reaching very different conclusions from the same publicly available information. What do you think? Are Harry and Meghan simply following independent career paths while remaining united behind the scenes? Or do you believe recent developments deserve closer attention? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss future royal news, celebrity updates, and in-depth analysis.